Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by Seth Spears. Seth is an adventurous entrepreneur who focuses on helping other entrepreneurs who values mission over margin and purpose over profit. He does a lot of things. He has a lot of experience. He's done product design. He's an angel investor, a podcaster. He has a couple of companies, so we're going to be talking to him about everything he's up to and the method to his madness. So, Seth, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Curtis. Happy to be here.
Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, I've been an entrepreneur for many, many years, most of my adult life. And it's been a very circuitous journey and one that I never would have expected if you would have told me when I was in college. Where should we begin? I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for several years, and the last real job I had was while I was there. I was working in collegiate admissions for a small liberal arts college there, and I got really burnt out on it and had problems with the administration, and just we didn't get along well, and so I ended up leaving there and went out on my own doing independent consulting. That was a big leap of faith. That was the first real entrepreneurial venture that I had embarked in, where there wasn't much of a safety net. I had a little bit of savings, but I was married. I had 2 children and a 3rd child on the way. And so left that steady paycheck to go out on my own and consult. And I was doing consulting for homeschool students that were preparing for college. I was homeschooled my entire life from grade school all the way through high school. And so the first time I ever sat in a classroom was my freshman year of college. Then after I graduated and I started working for this college, doing collegiate admissions counseling, and then I left there, I realized I had a skill set where I could help homeschool students who typically don't have that much preparation for college, just because it's not in their zeitgeist as far as the things that you need to do. For example, making sure that you're prepping for the ACT and the SAT, the classes that are best to take as far as just to get prepped for it. And then, so having that experience of being homeschooled myself and then working with students that were trying to get into college, I knew that I had a skill set that could help them with. So I started doing that. But I realized that in order to take on consulting clients, students, their parents, in order to help them, I needed to market myself. And so I went about building a website and then using social media and creating content. And then what I found at starting this venture was that although this was something that a lot of these students needed and their parents needed for them, they either didn't realize how necessary it was, or they didn't necessarily want to pay for it. So I also realized that I had a skill set as far as how to market myself, how to market the business that I had started, and how to build a website and use social media and create content so that people could find it when searching for it. So I pivoted. I had several friends and family members who were starting businesses at the time, or just, as a side hustle or a primary thing. And so they asked me, hey, I saw that you just built this website for yourself. Would you be interested in helping me do the same? I'm like, okay, sure, why not? So I went about learning and teaching myself website design and how to build a site from scratch and then marketing that, and realized I really enjoyed it. And so I'm like, hey, this is an opportunity where I could help other business owners, other entrepreneurs to market themselves. And so I started a boutique digital marketing agency that started out just as freelance and consulting, just myself doing all the work, and grew into a much bigger business where I was working with a lot of local business owners and some bloggers and content creators to help them build a really solid web presence. And that was called Spears Marketing. And so we focused on website design and search engine optimization and social media marketing and all of those items that pertain to the digital realm of marketing. And I did that for several years. And around the same time that I was launching that company, uh, I started another kind of a side project with my now ex-wife in the health and wellness space. She had gone back to school to study nutrition and to learn what was going to be the healthiest things for our family. She had some health issues and she wanted to make sure that she was able to overcome those and to provide the best healthy options for our family in both the food that she was cooking and the products that we were using and everything that we're putting on our body and in our body and just those things that are in our natural world. And so I created a website for her to document her health journey. And I used that site as the testing ground for my paying clients for Spears Marketing. And then that website and that platform grew and grew. And it started to do really well and become really successful. And so I think it was around 2015 or so, I got very burnt out on client services and just working with all of those clients that I had been focused on as far as the website design and SEO and social media. And so I realized I was at a crossroads. I could continue to work with clients, which I got fulfillment from, but I was getting burnt out on, or I could take a step back from that and then I could go all in on building this platform that I had helped my wife at the time to create and really help a lot of people to improve their health. And so I made that choice. So I went all in on growing that platform called wellnessmama.com and grew it into the largest health and wellness, natural health and wellness website, blog, and podcast for moms. And I did that for several years. And then around 2019, we had the realization that a lot of the content that we were putting out, we had tutorials on how to make personal care products. So toothpaste and shampoo, conditioner, and deodorant, and all those products that everyone needs and uses every day. So we had tutorials on how you could make them yourselves in your own home. And the audience, they really loved those products, but they started getting tired of making it themselves. And so we kept hearing the request over and over. Will you please just make these products and sell them so that I don't have to make them in my own home? And so when you hear that request enough times, I had the realization that this is a very good business opportunity, or sounds like it could be. So we decided to launch another company, Wellness. And so in 2020, we launched that company and started making better for you products in the personal care space. So oral, hair, and skincare. Around that same time, the marriage started to disintegrate, and we had just grown apart over the years and realized that it just wasn't working. So I ended up separating and divorcing and separated out the companies. And that was one of the hardest things that I've ever gone through. Um, Being a father, being a husband was something that I got a lot of fulfillment from, and it was my life. And so I went through a really dark time of life, very depressed. The company started not doing well due to some poor hires and oversight of the management of it. And so I had to dig myself out of a very dark hole and went down a deep path of personal development and learning how to overcome adversity and going through that dark time of life. And so I was able to crawl out of that hole and turn wellness around and made a lot of personal changes. Uh, and to fast forward to today, and where the company is now doing very well. We're profitable. We're gaining new customers every day. We just had our best year ever again this past year in 2024. And so things have turned around quite a bit. So that's my story in a nutshell. And there's lots of other little pieces in there as far as some other side companies and projects that I've been involved with, some investing in the health space, but played around in the outdoor industry as well, where I've got a little side project called Rewild Gear, where we make sustainable outdoor equipment for camping, hunting, backpacking. And so, yeah, my entrepreneurial journey has been very long and circuitous and interesting for sure.
Okay, well, can you talk about your podcast? You also started a podcast.
Yes. So I started a podcast called the Adventure Made Podcast. And that was in support of Rewild Gear, the outdoor equipment company that I started with my three brothers. And the goal was to bring on experts in the outdoor space to talk about their favorite adventures and to be both inspirational and aspirational. Because I had this realization that, you know, there's so much pollution and environmental issues and things going on in the world today that is destroying our natural world. To realize we can't protect what we don't understand or love because there's a disconnect within ourselves and within the natural world. So I realized that if I could bring on experts in the outdoor space to encourage people to get outside, to spend more time in nature, camping, hunting, backpacking, hiking, just doing those things that we love and that can connect us to the natural world, we're going to be better people all around and want to protect those natural resources that we're starting to lose. So I started that podcast, which has been on hiatus for the past year. But I started that to bring on experts in the outdoor space to tell their stories and just to encourage people to get outside, to spend more time in nature. Because from a health perspective, and everything that I've done has really been all about health and self-improvement, and whether that's improving your business, improving your physical health, improving your mental and emotional health. The more we can do that and we can connect with nature, that improves so many aspects of our life, our mental health, our emotional health, because we live in such a digital age that if we can let go of that digital side for part of the time and get more analog and reconnect with family, reconnect with friends, reconnect with nature, reconnect with our bodies and who we are, that life is going to be much better, more enjoyable, and more fulfilling.
Well, let's talk about your investment side. You also are an angel investor, so explain to listeners what that is.
Yeah, so angel investing is where instead of investing in the stock market and with publicly traded companies, you invest a set amount into a startup company. So the angel investing that I've been involved with has all been in the health and wellness space. Because to me, just investing in the stock market, it's totally out of my control. It feels like it's gambling to me because I don't have any control over what happens with those companies. Their ups and their downs, it's based on so many other factors that really are irrelevant to if I invest money or not. So it doesn't feel like it's a good investment to me, even though, long term it is for the most part, unless there's issues that come up, but it's totally out of my control. So angel investing, especially in the health and wellness space, because I've been in that industry for so many years, well over a decade now, that I could help drive traffic and sales either through the platform that I had via email, via social media, via marketing, via the connections that I have and connecting people so that I can help drive sales, which grows the company. And so it's a much higher likelihood of a return on those investment dollars. So typically you don't get paid out until the company sells or goes public or, there's some type of liquidity event. Although sometimes they'll pay out dividends or things like that. But to me, it's a much safer way to invest and the upside potential is a lot higher. Although if you look at the industry as a whole, most angel investments fail. But to me, it's hedging my bets because I can help affect positively the sales and the growth of the company.
let's take a quick break.
Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.
Yeah, well, you definitely, have done a lot and have a lot of experience over the years. Tell us about some of your most successful experience and, your worst experience.
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's start with the worst experience or a lesson that I learned. Okay, so many years ago, probably 2015, 2016, when I was growing Wellness Small at the health and website that I had with my ex-wife, there was an affiliate competition. So for those people who don't know what an affiliate is, one of the ways to make money in the online space is if you promote someone else's products or services. So let's take Amazon.com as an example. If you sign up as an affiliate and you pull a specific tracking link to an Amazon product, and then you send that to your friends or family or followers, and then they click through that link and they make a purchase, then you would get a small commission. It's a very minimal amount. So, but it rewards those who have influence and have eyeballs on their content so that it helps everyone win. So there was an affiliate competition where we're promoting the book launch for someone in the health and wellness space. And whoever won the competition got a larger sum of money, and maybe a trip. I can't remember the specifics about what the winner got. But we got really competitive with it and started emailing our list of readers and followers in order to win. And then as part of it, when someone signed up to purchase the book that was being launched, they were also subscribed to this author's email list. And then that person began emailing the audience quite a bit more. And it seemed almost spammy. I mean, technically it wasn't, but it felt like it to the audience. And so we got a lot of pushback on that and a lot of unsubscribes. And our readers kept saying that this doesn't seem like you. It doesn't seem like it's in alignment with your values, just because it's so much content. It's an overload and it seems very salesy and just not what we had hoped or expected from things that you would promote. So we retracted the email and said, hey, sorry, this wasn't a fit. And here's a free ebook for your time and feel free to unsubscribe. Well, the person who is running the launch, who was conducting the contest to win, got very upset and said, hey, you've hurt our launch. It's costing us a lot of money. We're not actually making what we thought we would from it. And so threatened a lawsuit. And that got it was a very challenging time because there was threats involved around financial side and potential lawsuits and things like that. So it was a big learning experience that never let doing the right thing, or never let a competition or the desire to win or profit get in the way of doing the right thing for the audience. And we weren't doing anything unethical or immoral or illegal, but it wasn't in line with the values that we had as far as the company, and only promoting those things that were in the best interest of the audience. And so that was a challenging lesson to learn. And then something along those lines as well. We were going to make an acquisition for another company, and the owners of the company were personal friends, and it seemed like it was going to be a good fit. But then there were some red flags that came up. And even though those red flags came up around the personality of the owners and what that might look like to work together, we pushed through and went ahead with the acquisition. But to make a long story short and kind of tie a bow around it, we ended up giving the company back to them, lost the friendship, and cost close to $500,000 just with the year-long process and the legality of it and just everything that was involved. And so the realization there was that there are red flags and it's not a hell yes, then don't go through with it, even though you think it's what the other person wants. And it might benefit some people if you don't follow your intuition and you go against that, you're going to get hurt and bad things will happen. So those would be the two lessons as far as the most challenging things in business. And then the most successful, I'd say my favorite time in business was very early on when we did a product launch. And it was just getting started in the health and wellness space and did a product launch for a meal planning service. And so we launched this product, sent it out to email lists, and had no idea if it would work or not. And then just waited. And like an hour later, saw the sales started coming in. And it didn't make that much in, comparison to like now and what launches have done and other products that I've launched and have put forth. I think it probably made maybe $13,000. So, a small amount, but it was a lot of money back then. And I was to an email list of, I think, 6,000 or 7,000. But it was just so exciting realizing that we basically put this system on autopilot and it was just bringing in cash. And so that was very early on in my entrepreneurial journey. But it was just a very exciting time. So I'd put that up there as what I would consider my most successful, just because that was one of the first things that I did that just felt like it had so much potential and could grow so much more.
What tell us about any upcoming projects that you're working on that people need to be aware of?
Yeah, so wellness is my primary project these days. And so we are a B Corp certified brand of all natural oral hair and skincare products. And we focus primarily on the oral care side. So we have multiple toothpastes and we use the cleanest ingredients on the market. So no fluoride, no sodium lauryl sulfate, no glycerin. We use microhydroxyapatite, which is a naturally occurring mineral that the enamel of your teeth is made up of. So our toothpaste is both mineralizing and great for the oral microbiome. So it improves everything about your mouth and your oral health. So we are launching some new products coming up here in the first quarter of this year in the oral care space. I can't say too much about what they are yet because we haven't announced them yet, but let's just say that there's going to be a couple that are going to be very good and help you to have cleaner, fresher breath and a brighter smile all day long.
Okay, well, throw out your contact info so people can keep up with everything you're up to, include those product launches.
Yeah, great. So the best way to stay in touch with me, my website, sethspears.com, where I have links to all my social media, and wellness.com. And that's wellness with an E on the end. So WELLNESSE.com. And I'm on all the standard social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc.
Close us out with some final thoughts. Maybe if there was something I forgot to talk about that you would like to touch on, or any final thoughts you have for the listeners.
Yeah, I think in life we're always thrown curveballs. There's adversity that happens in everyone's life. And the common denominator that all humans have is suffering in some aspect. And so, but it's not what happens to us, it's how we react to those things that throw us those curveballs, that throw us that adversity. And we can choose to either get bitter or get better. And it's all about our mindset and how we look at those things. And the more positive that we are with it, I mean, being realistic, but also working to overcome those, the better we're going to become in life. And so using those hurdles, those adversities that come up as stepping stones to a bigger and better and more enjoyable life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, SethSpears.com. Please be sure to check out his products when they come out. Check out his website and everything that he's up to. Follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible. Jump on your favorite podcast app. Check out the show. Share it, review it, follow us. If you have any guest or suggestion topics, Curtis Jackson 1978 at att.net is the place to send them. Thank you for listening and supporting the show. Seth, thank you for all that you do, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Curtis.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.